Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous Tea. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous Tea Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous Tea Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram is at Anonymous Reality Tea. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we are talking more fallout from the Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary, and it's a lot. Netflix has received a cease and desist from, Diddy's people and everything else. As of now, the documentary is still available. It is #1 everywhere. I believe last I remembered it was like #1, of course, in the US still, and #1 in like 30-something countries as well. A big thing was, there was conversations about who paid for Biggie's funeral, and the estate basically tried to come out and say that, the allegations that, Biggie allegedly or the estate allegedly paid for the funeral isn't true. But my interpretation of what was actually said in the documentary was ways that Bad Boy allegedly could move money around to where it was always coming out of the artist's budget. Because when Biggie first passed away, his estate was, I think, worth like $10 million, which we know, obviously, is lowballed, right? It should have been worth way more back then. And his mom, the late, Mrs. Wallace had, I think it had it up to almost 200 million and created the generational wealth for the grandchildren. I think the whole point was that there was ways that it wasn't going to come out of Bad Boy's budget or Diddy's budget, but make it a way to where the funeral was going to come out of Biggie's budget somehow. And utilize that and maybe manipulate those numbers, as well as the predetermined album Life After Death, which apparently allegedly Diddy had already had that name, but Biggie of course didn't know that, and use that as part of the budgeting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what the whole point of it was. Also, Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, has come out and has denied any type of, any type of physical ASSAULT, that was taking place. Here's the thing. I would not expect Janice Combs, even if she did hit her child or if Diddy hit her, I would not expect her to come on the record and say, yeah, that happened. I wouldn't, because up until this point, she's going to protect her child. That's been the energy. The energy has been Janice Combs has protected her son. Diddy's kids have been protecting him. So why would anybody expect anything different? And then Misa Hilton's coming out saying that she's getting harassed and her son's getting harassed and all of this and all of that, because I guess she was contacted to be a part of the documentary. As those of us who watched the documentary, there was a little blurb on there that she was contacted, as well as Janice Combs. They all were contacted to be a part of this documentary and declined. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. I think some people may have not known some of what was in this documentary. I think some may have heard rumors of some of this stuff, but putting a visual to some of the things is what's made it such a, such a reaction that people have to everything. Like, in context, Diddy's performance of I'll Be Missing You at the VMAs shortly after Biggie passed away. We didn't know prior to that Biggie was supposed to be on the cover of Rolling Stones, and it comes out Diddy's on the cover of Rolling Stone. We didn't know that Biggie was supposed to be on a PR trip marketing his album and everything else in London, and that he was convinced to stay in Los Angeles, even though there was already heat on them not to be in Los Angeles to begin with. And then the similar setup of, hey, let's go to an after party, conveniently as you're transporting yourself either to or from the after party, all of a sudden, pow pow. Like those are like the details and things like that, to where when you put it all together, it doesn't look good. And then they said that the trial for one of the gang members who, again, was being complicit with the police and everything else about Tupac's murder, that potentially is going to be pushed back due to the overwhelming new evidence that was just in this documentary. And I keep telling y'all, there was a lot that was left out. That makes this scarier. There was so much that was left out that makes this whole thing scarier. Like I said, tying in all of the Uptown, execs and artists that are no longer with us today. The attempts, you know what I'm saying, of, people being, in comas or going to jail or whatever else. Like a lot of people that were around in the earlier days are not around right now. Some of the artists, you know what I'm saying? Like there was really no artists other than the girl from Diddy Dirty Money and Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane and a couple of members of Day 26. But where was 112? Where was Total? Where was Faith Evans? You know what I'm saying? Where was Mace? And I'm inclined to believe that they all got NDAs. That when Diddy finally gave everybody back their catalog after he made all the money allegedly off their catalogs, that now that probably was tied to a non-disclosure agreement, that I'm giving you back your catalogs, I'm giving you back your publishing, but you can't speak on anything that you've seen or heard or knew about during your time that you were with Bad Boy with me. That's going to be the caveat. Otherwise, I'm going to keep the publishing. I feel like that's what the terms were. And then also, as well, it's just, the whole thing was horrifying. The thing, like I said, I can't stress enough, what was so horrifying was what was left out. They could do another part to this as well, if we're keeping it a buck. They can do another part of this documentary, to tie in some more loose ends, to tie in some more things. Because like I said, really a lot of how much a lot of these artists of Diddy suffered on Bad Boy was kind of undersold. And then also undersold was a lot of the relationships with these women. A lot of that was held back as well. Like that's a whole nother can of worms that I felt still there was like an element of things that were being held back that really could have been dived into. You know what I'm saying? So it is garnering, a lot of conversation, especially around the trial. And the biggest question I have now is, what does this mean for Diddy's attorneys? Did Diddy's attorneys know and consent to being recorded on those phone conversations that he had them on speaker? Are they going to challenge, that? Are they going to have an issue, continuing to represent Diddy as he's trying to make his quest to come out of jail in a couple of years? Because if I was somebody's attorney, if I was an attorney and I'm looking at this documentary, I'm thinking, like, aren't you supposed to have, client confidentiality? Attorney-client privileges? How is it that somebody was recording this and you're on the speakerphone discussing strategies? You're able to quickly email, different lawsuits, different documents that are being provided to you by your attorneys, by your legal team, and go ahead and email those to your former artists or former associates, and hoping that they speak out in public on your behalf and defend you. And when you reach out to them to help you out with money or with your custody battle or your legal issues, they're nowhere to be found, and tell you that it takes a while. Absolutely not. I wonder what Diddy's attorneys think about this. That basically their conversations with Diddy while he was recording and documenting all the stuff leading up to his arrest, what do they think of those conversations now being on display for the entire world to see? Diddy's up here thinking that he's documenting something that's going to be his truth, but the moment he gets arrested, that footage is all turned over and made into a documentary. Like there's so like you leave this with so many more questions than answers, you guys, because there was a lot, like I said, that was left out, and then there was a lot that was being alleged in there. But it really also, like I said in my previous video, it highlighted how much his sons, especially the oldest, was you know, in this. Allegedly a part of the freak-offs, and in that mysterious situation about somebody allegedly getting pow-powed at the studio in the bathroom, and only Diddy and allegedly his son was there, and then, you know, them trying to hope that the person just bleeds out and is unalived, and the producer is the one trying to help getting him to safety, getting him to an ambulance so that he could be treated and cared for, and his life be saved, and nobody knows where the person is ever since. Nobody knows who it is. Like, that is crazy. And that is scary. But nonetheless, we'll continue to monitor the fallout of this documentary. I am sure 50 Cent is getting calls now to do other documentaries on other people. And the last thing, like I had also mentioned in my other video, is just the number of celebrities that were in close proximity to Diddy for several years, for several decades, and have still come out unscathed. And the silence to me is very telling. Is the silence because you want to distance yourself, or is the silence because you don't want to get exposed? And how much, allegedly, are all these other celebrities paying people off to be quiet? Because how is it that certain people are being taken down around Diddy, but the same people who've been around Diddy all this time too, that have witnessed all this stuff, nothing's happening to them, that have the power and the star power and the net worth and the billionaire status just like Diddy? Like, that's scary, you guys. That is absolutely scary and absolutely horrifying when you think about it. So, nonetheless, that's it. That's all. Es todos, es final, es finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post a content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.